In the world we live in today, managing cyber risk isn't just a good idea, it's an absolute must for survival. So today, we're going to demystify one of the most important tools for doing exactly that, the brand new NIST Cybersecurity Framework, or CSF 2.0.
And yeah, that quote calls it a clarion call, and honestly, that's no exaggeration. We are way past the point of just needing simple updates. With how complex cyber threats are today, CSF 2.0 is a fundamental shift in how every single organization needs to think about its digital defense.
Okay, so to really get why this new framework is such a big deal, let's first take a hard look at the reality of the modern cyber challenge that, let's face it, we're all up against. I mean, just think back to the whole SolarWinds mess. That was a massive wake-up call for everybody. It proved that an attack on just one of your software suppliers could literally create a backdoor into thousands of other companies, maybe even yours. All of a sudden, your security isn't just about what you do, it's about every single link in your entire supply chain. Which, brings us to the million-dollar question, right? When threats can pop up from anywhere, your software, your partners, your own network, how on earth do you build a defense that actually makes sense? How do you cover all your bases without it becoming impossibly complicated to manage?
Well, that right there, that's the exact problem the NIST Cybersecurity Framework was designed to solve. It's not a rulebook. Think of it more as a guide for finding your way through this incredibly complex world of cyber risk. At its heart, this CSF is a guide. It's totally voluntary, it's flexible, and it's built for literally everyone, from a tiny nonprofit to a giant global corporation. The crucial thing to understand here is that this is not some rigid checklist you have to follow. It's more like a common language, a shared structure that helps you build a security program that's right for your specific needs.
Here's a really helpful way to think about it. Picture the CSF as a customizable fitness program, but for your organization's digital health. It's not going to hand you some generic one-size-fits-all workout. No. Instead, it gives you a whole library of exercises, solid principles, and the tools you need to track your progress and get into fantastic digital shape. And just like any good fitness program, it's built on 3 foundational elements that we're about to break down. You've got the core functions. Those are your different types of exercises. Then you have the implementation tiers, which measure your fitness level. And finally, the framework profiles, which are basically your personal fitness plan. All right, let's kick things off with the exercises themselves, the framework's 6 core functions. So take a look at this wheel. It's a perfect visual for how all these different pieces connect. And right there, smack in the center, you'll see the newest and, I'd argue, the most important function that's been introduced in CSF 2.0. And that is govern. This is the game changer in 2.0. It puts strategy at the absolute heart of everything else. It's all about making sure that cybersecurity isn't just some IT problem, but a core part of the entire organization's strategy, from the boardroom all the way down. It's the brain of the whole operation. So with govern sitting at the core, the framework then branches out into 5 other functions, which you might recognize if you've seen older versions. It all kicks off with identify, and the logic here is super simple. You can't protect what you don't even know you have. This is all about taking inventory of your stuff, your hardware, your software, your data, and figuring out the specific risks they face. Okay, so once you know what you've got, you protect it. These are your active defenses. We're talking firewalls, multi-factor authentication, employee training, the whole shebang. It's about putting the right shields in place to stop bad things from happening to begin with. But look, no shield is perfect, right? So the next step is detect. Think of this as your security alarm system. It's about constantly watching your networks and systems for any sign of trouble, so you have a chance to catch something sketchy before it spirals out of control. So the alarm's blaring. What now? That's where Respond comes in. This is basically your fire drill for a cyber attack. It's about having a clear, well-rehearsed plan to contain the threat, communicate with the right people, and just manage the immediate chaos. And finally, after the dust settles and the immediate threat is handled, you've got Recover. This is all about getting back on your feet, back to business. How do you restore your systems from backups? And, just as important, how do you learn from what just happened to make your defenses even tougher next time? Okay, so those 6 functions, those are your core exercises. Now let's talk about how you actually build your fitness plan and track your progress. And that's where profiles and tiers come into play. Tiers are, well, they're basically just a way to measure your organization's cybersecurity maturity level. As you can see here, it's a progression.
You might start out at Tier 1, where things are kind of ad hoc, and then work your way up to Tier 4, where your whole program is adaptive and constantly improving based on the latest intel.
And sticking with our fitness analogy, your tier is your overall fitness level. Are you a beginner, just getting off the couch? Or are you basically a professional athlete? It's not about judgment. It's just about an honest look at where you are right now so you can figure out where you want to go.
Now, profiles. This is your personalized plan. You create what's called a current profile. That's a snapshot of where you are today across all those functions. And then you map out a target profile for where you want to be. And that gap between the two, that becomes your roadmap for improvement.
And hey, creating a profile isn't just some abstract idea. The CSF gives you a super clear 5-step process to follow. You figure out the scope, gather your info, create the profile, analyze where the gaps are to make an action plan, and then, this is the most important part, you actually implement it. And as you can see, it's designed to be a continuous loop of improvement, not a one-and-done thing. So when you pull all these pieces together, what's the really big takeaway from CSF 2.0? Well, it all boils down to a massive shift in thinking, taking cybersecurity out of the IT department's server room and putting it right where it belongs, in the boardroom, as a strategy for the entire organization.
This chart really spells it out, doesn't it? The old way of doing things was often stuck in the IT department. The 2.0 approach is all about enterprise-wide governance. It changes the goal from just checking off compliance boxes to actually managing risk and performance. And it puts a huge, much-needed spotlight on the supply chain because it knows that no organization is an island.
And that really leaves us with this one last thought. At the end of the day, NIST CSF 2.0 gives everyone a common language. It lets your lead engineer and your CEO have a meaningful conversation about cybersecurity, not as a technical issue, but as a core business risk. So the real question I'll leave you with is this: is your organization speaking that language yet?